Yeah, we definitely have a bad thread on this one. Okay, let's rebuild the petcocks on this gas tank on the R90. I had to go ahead and pull this off because it's been slowly dripping gas forever sitting here. Both petcocks are in bad shape and leaking, so we're going to go ahead and get them off, which I've already loosened and removed them, so I'm going to set it up here so you can see it. So you can see I've already removed one right here. We'll set it aside. And I already took the tank off and drained it. I filmed it by myself. I couldn't really have a good way to show it too easily. But these are easy. I just put it over a bucket and you can drain it from the tap and then kind of swish it around and get the fuel back to one corner, and you can drain it pretty easily that way. Not a hard tank to get dry. So I've got the fuel out of it and they're very simple to remove. Just put a wrench on the big nut on these and you can unscrew it and break them loose. And then just thread them off so they come off really easily. And I've got still have the original red coating inside. The tank's in nice shape. There's no crust on this left side, but the right one does have some junk in it, so we'll look at that. But I've looked around in the tank and there's really nothing in there. I can't find anything. There's no rust, so I'm not sure what got into it. I've got fuel filters going back on it, so I'm not too concerned. I'm really not going to bother trying to clean the tank here, because it's already in nice shape. So let me make sure I have these so they're easy to see. Okay, that's pretty well centered. I think I can zoom in a little bit here. Let me reposition. Okay, so there's our petcocks off. And we'll just look at them first, and then in a minute we'll do a separate clip to disassemble them. So here we can look at one. We see we have the filter here on the outside. That's kind of a pre-filter to keep any junk from getting into the tubes. Just kind of twist it off. Then we can see the two tubes are straws that are the fuel intake. So the long one is your normal fuel intake, and the low one, the short one, is your reserve. So it'll pick up a lower fuel level. Then we've got an O-ring there to seal it against the threads, and the cap and the other parts. So in a minute here, in a separate clip, we'll start disassembling these. So we can see that pretty well. These are in nice shape. They just need new seals, so they should do just fine. Now, the right side, which, like I said, was a little strange, was not in as good a shape. You can see the filter is a little dirtier, but that in itself is not a big deal. Take that off. But now if you look down inside, let's see how well I can focus on that. You can see a lot of junk in there, and the reserve tube, the low one here, is full of, I'm not sure yet. I suppose it's rust, but I just don't see any rust in the tank. But you can see here, as if I knock it out, there's quite a bit of junk in there. So I'll prise some of it up, but yeah, it's a little crusty, but I think it'll clean up and reseal just fine. And if I poke down in there, yeah, definitely some junk clogging up the reserve tube. So we'll clean all those out. That's not a problem. So anyways, these are all going to go in the ultrasonic cleaner, which we'll show in the next clip. We'll get them cleaned up nice. And then I have the reseal kits from Euro Moto Electrics. That's what we're going to put in these. So, okay, that's a good start. I am going to get some tools here, and then we will get them disassembled. Okay, let's look at how to get these apart. I have them, one already loosened up here to disassemble so we can see how it comes apart. Okay, so we have the outlet here, we have the inlet. You can see that we have a threaded collar on each side. We have the larger one that attaches to the tank, and we have the smaller one that basically holds the outlet in place. And on the front, we have the selector, and we have a collar that shows reserve on, off, the various positions. So let's look at how to take it apart. It's pretty simple. To start with, I'm going to take off the O-ring. You see this red O-ring, that's what seals the petcock to the tank, so there's no leak there. That one is pretty hard. I have my new parts up here. This one, the new one, obviously is in better shape. This one was not leaking at that position. It was okay, but it's really hardened up and kind of crusty. And then, since it's already loose, I'll take this off. The position collar label just slips in place there. It's just plastic. I'll set that out of the way. Okay, so we need to take the collars off so we can get the intake tubes off and the output tube off. I used a 17 wrench at the bottom along with an adjustable right here to hold it. It's also a 17. So two 17 millimeter wrenches will work fine. I've already loosened it. So this one is left-hand thread, so just reverse it like normal and it'll come off. So let's see. You can see there's another filter screen on the output, and it's pretty crusty on this. It's definitely cleanable and will be fine, but it's got some rust or junk on it. So we're gonna have to clean that, set that out of the way. And the top nut is reverse threaded, since it's used to attach two threaded pieces together, the petcock and the tank. So I'm gonna undo that reverse thread, set it out of the way. And then we have the intake straws here. You know, I thought maybe they come out, but I haven't rebuilt one of these before and they don't seem to, so that's okay. We'll leave them and put them in the ultrasonic cleaner. Okay, so then if we're looking at the front, you'll see I've already loosened this, and the way I do it is put it in a vise to hold the unit, the body still, and then you'll see that there's two slots here, and they're basically, this collar is threaded, and that's what keeps this tensioned and held in place. To start it, I use a small screwdriver, and it's standard thread, so you can tap it counterclockwise to loosen it. I put it in the vise and use a screwdriver and a hammer, and I tap it until it begins to unthread. Once it unthreads, I use a snap ring plier with some 90-degree tips that I can fit down in the slots on both sides like this, and then spin it like this to unscrew it. So that works really well without banging or scratching it up. So once you loosen that, you can pull out the actual valve, and let's see what it looks like. Yeah, pretty crusty inside. Wow, yeah, like really surprised this was flowing any fuel at all. Let's pry it out of the way and see. So there, yeah, there's our input and outputs from the tubes that would flow fuel, and this was almost entirely clogged up. And this is disintegrating rubber from the seal inside, I think. That is not rust or anything. And if we look here at it, we can see that it's full of a bunch of junk. So you can see there's not much to replace in here. You have, here's my new O-ring. The O-ring goes right here on this to seal this. And then we have the rubber gasket, I guess you'd call it, that goes here on the inside and fits against, you can see the protrusions in there that it sits against. So you can see this one's gone. This rubber's disintegrated. The inside of it is gone. Should look like this with the 5 holes to line it up. There's nothing left of the inside of it. So anyways, I'm not surprised these were leaking and not doing much. And again, this was the good one. So we can see just how bad a shape the good one is in. And then we have the various pieces. We have the collar, a wave washer, and then we have this locating washer with a little tab on it. Hopefully you can see the tab right there. And that's what fits into the slot here. So it helps locate everything when you put it back together. So yeah, that's pretty bad. I'm going to peel off all the rubber here, and it's going in the ultrasonic cleaner. So peel this off. There's the old one. That's in bad shape. And we'll just do one at a time so we can make sure everything stays lined up. So I'm going to take all these pieces off in order. And I'm going to take a picture of it so I don't forget. But I have the threaded collar, wave washer, the washer with the locking or aligning tab, and then another washer with an inner aligning tab instead of an outer one. So I'm going to set them here in this order. I'll make a note so I don't forget. And then I'm going to see if I can do it by hand. Probably not. see if I have a tool here. Okay, I'm going to try and use a little pick here. My pick's in bad shape. Let's see if I can pry the old O-ring out, because it is certainly not needed anymore. There. Okay, there's the old O-ring. And I'm going to chisel out whatever I can of the old rubber in there, but the ultrasonic cleaner will probably clean up a lot of this stuff. Okay. Alright, so there is the lever piece. Alright, so these are the pieces we're going to put in the cleaner. We're going to take the body with the tubes. We're going to take the valve piece. We're going to take the collar, bottom collar with filter, and then our stack of washers and thread pieces. And I use simple green in there, so we'll probably throw in the plastic. Won't hurt anything. So get this old stuff out of the way. And might as well throw the straw in. Okay, so there's the pieces. I'm going to get it in the cleaner and let it sit, and then I'll go ahead and pull the other one apart as well. Okay, so that's disassembly. This one's going to go in the cleaner too, and I'll move the camera over here and show you. It's not super interesting, but I have an ultrasonic cleaner like this that has a heater as well, and I've got a tank in it, or a basket. Fill it up, turn the heater on, and let it cycle. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll look at them as soon as they're clean. I got these out of the ultrasonic cleaner and washed them off. Let's go ahead and rebuild them. So you can take a look. They cleaned up really nice. So they look good. I went ahead and washed them out with a little bit of carb cleaner too, and then hit them with compressed air and blew out the tubes. And you can see it's nice and clean inside now. So yeah, they turned out good. The filters cleaned up well, so that ultrasonic cleaner is really totally worth it. Filters look good. The filters on the outlet tubes look good. And yeah, all the collars and washers and stuff cleaned up well. So yeah, I think these will turn out nice. Oh, the only other thing I wanted to clean here, I forgot about, was the valves. So let me go ahead and hit them. Just spraying them off, and then I'm going to go hit them. Okay, and I'm going to go hit them on my air compressor real quick and just make sure. So they look pretty good. This one's got a little bit of junk on it. Let's see if that comes off. So I'm just wiping it off here with the paper towel. Yeah. So that looks good. One sec, I'm going to blow these off real quick. All right. Okay. All right. Got them both cleaned off, blew the air out. So start with new O-ring. Just Just going to slide around on each of the valves. I have my new rebuild kits laid out right there. Okay, new O-ring on each of those. Alright, we'll pick one to start with. Start with this side. Going to take the washer, and you can see how you have the 5 spots there in like an X pattern. And there's no front or back. You just need to line up the holes. So let's see here. Going to use my pick to kind of slide it around a little bit. And then press it down into place. I'm going to press all around. And you have 2 kind of little studs that locate it. So you can see them here and here. So line up 2 of the holes on those, and that'll make sure that the other internal holes line up. So there's that one. Do the same thing on this one. And I'm going to press it down. And when I press in the like valve assembly, it'll press this the rest of the way in. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to start, take my valve, and my notes say I take the washer with the inner lip and it goes inside. And I can see a wear mark on it. So I'm going to lay it in, and I can see the wear mark where the metal's rubbed, so it should be like that. So I'm going to line up the tab. Okay, then I have my washer with the male tab sticking out, and I can see the little protrusions on it that have rubbed against the metal, so I'm going to lay it in that order. Oh, of course I'm doing these wrong. They have to be on the oops. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull that out. What am I doing? They have to be laid over the valve piece, so sorry. Okay, I'm going to take my valve and put them on. Okay. Slide that one on. Okay, and if I look at the valve piece, you'll see a little tab there. And that's where the washer with the female tab presses into place and kind of locks against it. So you can see there, I've got that lined up. And you can see the wear ring and the little protrusion. So now I'm going to put that piece on. And I know its tab is going to go down, so I'm going to line it up like that. This is what provides the like kind of positive locking feel when you turn this. Okay, then I'm going to put my wave washer on. And then I'm going to put my collar on. Okay, so there's all my pieces. Now, which I should have done in the right order, I can slide this in place. Line up the male tab on the washer, which I did on the bottom. And then I'm going to push in on the collar and turn to get the threads started. Which I think I have. So now I'm going to use my snap ring pliers again. And I don't like that. It feels like cross-threaded a bit. Okay, let's try again. Okay. Okay, I'm going to keep turning this. Keep tightening the collar. And when I took this apart, the collar was just about flush here with the housing. So I'm going to keep turning a bit, and it's about there. It's tight, and it's about flush. Now let's see how tight this is. Okay, I'll make sure. So it turns smoothly. It's got really positive engagement in each of the notches, which says I lined up the washers correctly. Feels really good. That's what it should feel like. Before, these were just kind of sloppy because the rubber was so worn out. So feels good. I'm gonna do one more turn on it just to make sure. Okay. Okay. I like it. Make sure that's completely tight and sealed. Yeah, it is. Okay. Okay, feels good. Okay, so then I'm going to take my outlet tube, make sure my filter is seated inside it, and I'm going to screw it in. And remember, this one is standard thread. Okay, and to tighten it, I'm going to get my 17 or my adjustable wrench to hold it. Put my 17 on the collar and tighten it up. Okay. And then I'm going to take my top collar, and remember it's reverse threaded. Get into place. I have the rounded part facing up. Okay, I'm going to thread it down. And I'm going to take my new red washer, place it over and inside. It just kind of sits there loose for now. Okay, I'm going to take my filter and work it over the straws here and push it down. Okay, and then I have my cap that shows the position labels, and I'm going to press it into place. Okay, cool. So there we go. That one looks good. Came out pretty well. Okay, set that aside and let's work on the other one. Okay, so I'm going to take my valve. I'm going to take my washer with the female cutout. I can see the wear ring, so it's going to go like this. Slide into place right there. Okay, next one. With the little protrusions on it, it's going to go on. Fit into place right there. Okay, wave washer. And collar with the cutouts on the outside. Okay, got all that. I'm going to take my housing, make sure the rubber inside's still lined up, which it is. Put it into place, make sure the male protrusion on the washer falls in. And then I'm going to slowly turn this and get the threads started smoothly. And let's see. Definitely taking some turns here to get started. Okay, I think I got it to catch. So start turning these. And keep turning. This one's definitely tighter. This is the one that I had to use my vise to unscrew. Yeah, I don't really like how tight that is, but this is how tight it was when it came apart, so I may have to put it back in the vise and tap it. Let's see. I mean, looks okay. Let's see. Push it down again, see if I can get it started square. I think I can see some like shiny parts on the threads. I think the threads were, I don't know, maybe this one had been apart before or something. The threads were already a little banged up on it. I don't love that, but we'll see. Hopefully it won't leak when it goes back together. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not catching. Okay, I'm gonna go to the vise here. Let me restart this. Okay, hope you can see this okay. It's not the best angle here with my vise, but let's see here. Okay, so I have it held in place with the vise, and I'm gonna see if I can put a little better pressure on it this way to get the threads on the collar started. So everything looks okay, and I can kind of feel it want to catch. Let's see here. Yeah, we definitely have a bad thread on this one. Try and push down more and turn. Okay. All right. Hopefully you can see from this angle what I'm doing. Trying to keep some vertical pressure on it to keep the threads engaged well while I turn it. It looks like that's working. So this is probably the last rebuild for this Petcock. I'm going to assume this one's had a hard life and has been apart before. And I'm going to assume it's not going to take another rebuild because these threads, hopefully, as long as it doesn't leak, it's not really a problem. It'll last for tons of miles. But I don't think it's coming apart again in a usable fashion, so we'll see. Hopefully it'll work. If not, Euro Moto has new ones, so I'll try and tap it a little bit, but it's hard to do that way. Okay, let's take it out and see here. So, man, that's pretty tight. It's stiff. But I get good positive engagement in the notches. That's good. That says all the holes are lining up inside. And I've rebuilt similar Petcocks before, and usually this new rubber is just really thick and there's nothing lubricating it or anything. So usually after you get some gas flowing through it and it softens up a little bit, I'm not too worried about it. I think that'll probably smooth out fine. Let's see if I can get like one more crank or tap on it to try and make sure the collar's super tight. Because this, in my experience, is usually when they leak. If you don't tighten this collar enough, you gotta compress this valve. Okay, that's about it. Against the rubber inside, that's where the leak passed. But, man, okay, too tight. Definitely too tight. So we got to find the sweet spot here where hopefully it won't leak and we can still move the valve smoothly. And I do believe that'll, like I said, loosen up after some fuel flows through it, but it's still pretty tight. I'm gonna loosen it up a little bit more. Yeah, we'll see. I don't have tons of faith this one won't leak. This one might be being replaced soon. Okay, listen a little more. Okay. Okay, I can move and feel the positions. It's still tight, but it certainly moves. So we're gonna call that good for now. And let me reposition the camera. All right, finish this up and we'll call it good. I'm not going to get any fuel in these right now, so I'm not sure if they're going to leak or not, but I don't want to put fuel back in the tank at the moment. Okay, I've got my filter in place. The tube looks good. Go ahead and put that in place and screw it in. Okay. I wrench on it. Okay. Put my top collar on, again the round part up and reverse thread. And washer. Okay, and then I'm going to take my cap and press it into place. Okay. Oh, and I need my filter, which I think I left over here. Nope, where did I put it? Okay, well, I misplaced my filter. I'm gonna have to find. But anyways, there we go. There's 2 rebuilt Petcocks for my R90 /6, and yeah, the reinstallation I'm not going to show. They just thread right back onto the tank. There's not really anything special there. So I hope that helps, and yeah, we'll do another video on the next repair job for this bike. All right, see you later.